Every few months, some headline goes viral claiming the 401k is a scam. The government controls your money. You'll never see it. It's a trap designed to keep you working until you die. Most of that is nonsense. Fear-mongering designed to generate clicks from people who don't understand how retirement accounts actually work. But here's what makes this topic complicated. There are real, legitimate, and mathematically sound reasons to stop contributing to your traditional 401k, or at least redirect those dollars somewhere else. Not because of conspiracy theories, not because of clickbait, because of math. The question isn't whether you should avoid your 401k entirely. The real question is this. Given your current tax bracket, your future tax bracket, your savings rate, and your retirement timeline, where should your next dollar actually go? Sometimes the answer is the traditional 401k. Sometimes it's a Roth. Sometimes it's a taxable brokerage account. Sometimes it's paying off debt or building an emergency fund first. The goal isn't fear. The goal is intention. This video breaks down the specific situations where continuing traditional 401k contributions might actually work against you and what to do instead. First, the 401k deserves its reputation as one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available. According to Fidelity's Q2 2025 retirement analysis, there are now 595,000 401k millionaires in America. That's an all-time high. The number jumped 16% from the previous quarter alone. These aren't people who got lucky with stock picks or inherited wealth. These are workers who contributed consistently over decades and let compound growth do the heavy lifting. The average 401k balance reached $137,800 in Q2 2025. The average combined savings rate, employee plus employer contributions, sits at 14.2%, close to Fidelity's recommended 15% target. For millions of Americans, the 401k isn't just part of their retirement strategy, it is their retirement strategy. The employer match alone represents a guaranteed 50 to 100% return before any market gains. No other investment offers that. But even a great tool becomes the wrong tool when used at the wrong time or for the wrong purposes. The first situation where traditional 401k contributions might hurt you when you're a high saver facing larger required minimum distributions. This surprises people because high savers are supposed to win at retirement. They did everything right. They maximized contributions for decades. Their accounts grew into 7 figures. Then required minimum distributions kick in and the math flips. RMDs are mandatory withdrawals the government requires from traditional retirement accounts once you reach a certain age. Under Secure 2.0, the RMD starting age is 73 for those born between 1951 and 1959. For those born in 1960 or later, the starting age increases to 75, effective January 2033. The government created RMDs because traditional retirement accounts receive tax-deferred treatment. Contributions reduce your taxable income in the contribution year. Growth compounds without annual taxation. Eventually, the IRS wants its share. RMDs force that reckoning. The problem emerges when decades of successful saving create RMDs larger than expected. Research from Morningstar and Vanguard shows that high savers often face higher taxes in retirement than during their working years. This seems counterintuitive. The whole point of traditional contributions is paying taxes later when your bracket is supposedly lower. But that assumption breaks down for disciplined savers. When every dollar you've accumulated sits in tax-deferred accounts, the future tax math can snowball dramatically. RMDs force money out whether you need it or not. A portion of Social Security becomes taxable based on total income. Pensions, part-time work, and dividends stack on top. Medicare IRMAA surcharges kick in above certain income thresholds. For high savers, RMDs alone can push them into higher tax brackets than the brackets they were in while working. The traditional 401k promise of lower taxes in retirement becomes a broken promise. The compounding problem makes this worse. Vanguard's modeling shows that many accounts in the $1 to $2 million range continue growing faster than RMDs pull money out. The account compounds even during withdrawal years. RMDs rise every year, your tax bill rises every year. Your bracket rises even as you try to draw down the balance. This breaks the conventional wisdom that taxes will be lower in retirement. For many high savers, that wisdom is simply wrong. The tax code rewards diversification, not concentration. Traditional 401ks provide a deduction today, but create a growing tax liability for future withdrawals. A 4 to 6% withdrawal on a large traditional balance can easily land retirees in the 22% bracket, the 24% bracket, or even the 32% bracket, especially if they have pension income. Having money in Roth accounts, taxable brokerage accounts, or HSAs creates flexibility that concentrated traditional balances cannot provide. These accounts don't come with forced taxable withdrawals. You control when and how much gets taxed. If your projections suggest future RMDs will push you into a higher tax bracket than you're in today, it might be time to stop funneling every additional dollar into the traditional 401k. The second situation, when your current tax bracket is lower than it will be later. This shows up consistently for workers in their 20s, 30s, and early 40s. Early career workers often earn less than they will at mid-career. They're in the 12 or 22% brackets while building skills and climbing professional ladders. Contributing to a traditional 401k makes sense when you're avoiding taxes at a high rate now to pay them at a lower rate later. But what if the opposite is true? What if you're paying a low rate now and will pay a higher rate later? Research consistently shows that for workers whose earnings rise over time, which describes the majority of college-educated professionals, Roth contributions often generate higher lifetime after-tax wealth than traditional contributions. The logic is straightforward. When your income grows even 1 to 3% annually over a career, you're paying taxes at your lowest brackets early. Traditional contributions save you 12 or 22% now. But if your account grows substantially and your RMDs push you into the 24 or 32% bracket later, you've lost the bet. Consider a concrete example. Someone starts their career earning $60,000. Income grows 2% annually. They're in the 12 or 22% bracket during early working years. Fast forward 20 years. That same worker earns $140,000 and sits in the 24% bracket or higher after bonuses and promotions. Traditional contributions throughout their career provided tax breaks in the lower brackets, but retirement RMDs force withdrawals taxed at the higher brackets they climbed into. Roth contributions would have worked better. Pay taxes at 12 or 22% during low-earning years. Enjoy completely tax-free growth and withdrawals in retirement, regardless of what bracket RMDs would otherwise push you into. According to Fidelity, among plans offering the Roth 401k option, which now exceeds 94% of employer plans, only 16.2% of eligible participants actually contribute to the Roth option. Those who do contribute skew younger, particularly ages 29 to 44. They understand the math. The TIAA Institute found that workers in the bottom 3 tax brackets early in their careers benefit most from Roth contributions, as their income climbs over time. This isn't about stopping retirement savings. It's about redirecting the next dollar to the Roth 401k or Roth IRA instead of the traditional option. Same savings discipline, different tax outcome over a lifetime. The third situation, when you need liquidity more than you need tax deferral. The internet never talks about this because it's not dramatic, but it's real life planning. If you don't have an emergency fund, you're saving for a home down payment, you carry high interest debt, or you're living close to the edge every single month, locking money in a 401k isn't the smartest move right now. Money in traditional retirement accounts faces these statistics reveal a population that needs accessible money before locked retirement funds. If your employer offers a match, absolutely contribute enough to capture the full match. That's a guaranteed 50 or 100% return depending on your plan structure. Abandoning free money makes no sense. But beyond the match, the next dollar might serve you better elsewhere. The sequence for those who need stability: build a real emergency fund of at least 3 months' expenses. Pay down high-interest debt above 15% APR. Fund an HSA if eligible. It offers triple tax advantages and can be used for medical expenses at any time. Build a taxable brokerage account that provides flexible, penalty-free access. It's not that the 401k is bad, it's that timing matters. Financial stability means you can handle shocks without derailing everything else. Having 6 months of expenses accessible prevents you from raiding retirement accounts during emergencies and paying penalties that destroy years of compounding. The fourth situation, when you're planning early retirement. This is one of the biggest reasons someone might intentionally stop maximizing traditional 401k contributions. If you plan to step away from the workforce in your 40s or 50s, and your plan doesn't offer the Rule of 55 exception, your 401k money remains locked until age 59 and a half. Your retirement timeline doesn't match the account's access rules. The Rule of 55 allows penalty-free withdrawals from your most recent employer's 401k if you separate from service during or after the year you turn 55. Not all plans offer this provision. Check your specific plan documents. For those planning retirement before 55, the 401k creates a timing mismatch. You have money, you can't touch it without penalties. You need income now, not in 15 years. The smart move isn't abandoning retirement savings entirely. It's funding accounts that provide unrestricted access. A traditional taxable brokerage account has no contribution limits, no access restrictions, and no penalties for withdrawals at any age. Yes, investment gains face taxes. Long-term capital gains, assets held more than a year, are taxed at 0, 15, or 20% depending on income. Only the growth gets taxed. Your contributions come back tax-free because they were made with after-tax dollars. Building a substantial taxable brokerage balance alongside traditional retirement accounts creates a bridge. Use the brokerage for early retirement years from ages 45 to 59. Tap traditional retirement accounts once penalty-free access begins. The combination covers your entire retirement timeline instead of leaving a gap. The fifth situation, when your 401k plan is simply bad. Some 401k plans are excellent. Low fees, broad index fund options, clean interfaces, institutional share classes that individual investors can't access otherwise. Others are terrible. High fees, limited investment choices, expensive actively managed funds, complicated structures that obscure costs. According to Brightscope/ICI research, the average 401k participant paid total plan costs of 0.52% of assets under management in recent years. But this average masks enormous variation by employer size. Large employer plans with 1,000 or more employees and $50 million or more in assets average all-in fees of 0.4 to 0.6%. These plans have negotiating power and typically offer institutional share classes. Medium employer plans with 100 to 999 employees average fees of 0.7 to 1.0%. The costs increase as plan size decreases. Small employer plans under 100 employees often pay 1.0 to 1.75% in total fees. This is where fees become painful. Research from the 401k Averages book shows small plans with $5 million in assets averaging 1.09% in total costs. The difference matters enormously over a career. The Department of Labor illustrates the impact. On a $25,000 starting balance earning 7% annually over 35 years, a 0.5% fee results in a final balance of approximately $227,000. A 1.5% fee results in approximately $163,000. The 1% difference reduces the final balance by 28%. High fees don't just cost you money today. They cost you money every single year in the future because those dollars lose the ability to compound at maximum potential. If your 401k charges fees above 1%, or if the only investment options are expensive, actively managed funds, the math changes. Contribute enough to capture the employer match. That's still free money. But additional contributions beyond the match might serve you better in an IRA with low-cost index funds. The fees to watch for: fund expense ratios above 0.5%, asset-based administrative fees above 0.5%, wrap fees on variable annuities, managed account fees of 0.25 to 0.9% on top of other costs, and revenue sharing arrangements buried in fund expenses. Sometimes the smart move really is get your match, then stop contributing to the plan and redirect elsewhere. The sixth situation, when Roth conversions are part of your long-term strategy. For high savers, this is crucial. If you know you'll be doing Roth conversions in the future, maybe during a sabbatical, during years between jobs, or in the years before RMDs kick in, you might want fewer dollars flowing into traditional accounts right now. The logic? It can be inefficient to shuffle dollars into a traditional account, avoid taxes today, and then convert larger amounts later, while paying taxes on the accumulated growth. You're deferring now only to pay more later. If Roth conversions are part of your plan, shifting some current contributions to Roth makes sense. You're building tax diversification today. You're slowing the growth of your traditional balance, which keeps future RMDs manageable. You're giving yourself room to convert at lower tax rates later. The smaller your traditional balance when you reach your 60s, the easier it becomes to convert strategically. You can target specific brackets, avoid IRA surcharges, reduce future RMDs, and control taxable income throughout retirement. This is where tax planning becomes strategy. It's not just about how much you save, it's about where you save and when those dollars get taxed. The unifying principle across all these situations, the real question is always, where should my next dollar go? There's no universal rule, no one-size-fits-all answer. Your current bracket matters, your future bracket matters, your savings rate matters, your retirement timeline matters, your plan's fee structure matters, your need for liquidity matters. Those who tend to have the smoothest, lowest tax retirement have money spread across all three buckets. Tax-deferred accounts like traditional 401k and traditional IRA, Roth accounts with tax-free withdrawals, and taxable brokerage accounts with full flexibility. This mix provides options. The ability to decide which dollars to use and when you use them creates control over your tax situation in retirement. That flexibility is a superpower. Someone with $1 million entirely in traditional accounts has limited choices. Every withdrawal adds to taxable income. RMDs force specific amounts out annually. Social Security taxation and Medicare premiums respond to total income. Control is minimal. Someone with $400,000 in traditional accounts, $300,000 in Roth accounts, and $300,000 in taxable accounts has choices. They can take RMDs from traditional, supplement with tax-free Roth withdrawals, and use taxable accounts strategically for major expenses. They control their taxable income year by year. The contribution limits for 2026 provide planning context. 401k contributions max out at $24,500 for those under 50. Catch-up contributions add $8,000 for ages 50 to 59 or 64 and older. The enhanced catch-up for ages 60 to 63 allows an additional $11,250, bringing the maximum for that age group to $35,750. IRA contributions max at $7,500, with a $1,100 catch-up for those 50 and older. HSA contributions are $4,400 for individuals and $8,750 for families, with a $1,000 catch-up at age 55 and older. Taxable brokerage accounts have no contribution limits. Understanding these limits helps you allocate strategically rather than defaulting to whatever your employer set up during onboarding. The bottom line, the 401k is not a scam. The clickbait headlines are wrong about that. The 401k is one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available. Fidelity data shows 595,000 millionaires created through consistent 401k contributions. The employer match alone represents returns no other investment can guarantee. But throwing every available dollar blindly into the traditional 401k without understanding long-term implications isn't a strategy. It's autopilot. Autopilot is how people end up with higher taxes in retirement than expected. It's how people end up with less flexibility when they need it most. It's how people discover too late that their 401k plan charged fees that consumed 28% of their potential balance. The alternative isn't fear. The alternative is intention. Ask the real question. Given everything I know about my situation, where should my next dollar go? When you ask that question and answer it honestly based on your specific circumstances, you're not reacting to headlines. You're building a plan that actually works for you. The traditional 401k might be exactly right for your next dollar, or it might be exactly wrong. The math determines the answer, not the marketing. Run the numbers. Understand your brackets now and later. Know your plan's fees. Consider your timeline. Build across multiple account types. The people who win at retirement aren't those who followed a single rule forever. They're the people who stayed intentional, adjusted as circumstances changed, and understood that where you save matters as much as how much you save. That's the truth nobody tells you because it doesn't fit in a headline.